JD, this was your tweet yesterday regarding Josh Simmons. Talk to us about Josh Simmons, JD.
Ooh, man. Okay. So, as I say on here, this would be my guy. If we drafted a left tackle in the first round, he's my only exception to drafting an OT in the first round. Not that my opinion matters, right? I mean, they could take it or not, take it or leave it. But he happens to fall to us, take him. I think that's what you have to do. If you still have King Suma on the roster to make sure he's healed and ready, let them compete. I like him out of all the left tackles in this draft. Okay, so for me, Josh Simons had been hurt. Okay, he had a patella tendon tear, had gotten hurt against Oregon. He was one of the top tackles. For me, I said this, Marcus, and I was, we was talking about the draft, and I was just like, look, I don't believe that the draft is where we need to find our left tackle. I didn't. But he is the exception for me. He is the one, okay? Out of all the tackles that's out there, Will Campbell, Banks, and all those guys, he is the guy for me, okay? When I was watching him on film, the way he was able to strike, how silky his feet were, very quiet, moving back, very athletic. To me, man, he's a guy that was without a doubt game ready, like NFL ready right now for me as a tackle. Now, we don't quite know what it's going to be because of the patella tendon tear, and he's supposed to be ahead of schedule from what they've been saying. So, which is a good sign. And I said, regardless of where he goes, man, I hope the guy does well, right? We know patella tendon is one of those things. If you have an injury, that is one of the things that is at least one of the injuries that they say you may not be the same when you come back, right? Technology, we see things have changed. Him being ahead of schedule bodes well for him. That's what I look at. But this is what I was kind of talking about. Now, I will still say, okay, and somebody made a point after this, is I still believe that we need to get us a veteran left tackle. If we were able to get Josh Simmons, if we're able to get him here, I would still want to get a veteran guy. Okay, for the simple fact, if he's not ready and if he is kind of behind the eight ball, right, a setback, well, who are you looking at? When I said King Suma's there, sure, King Suma's there, but what if he still had to grow in this process? What we seen today, Marcus, you sent this to me. Donovan Smith said he's ready.
He's back.
That joker came out of the blue from somewhere. I don't know where he's been, Australia or whatever he's been, but he's been getting himself right. He's been getting himself ready. I think he wants to come back to the Chiefs and come play. So if it's not the Chiefs, somewhere else, he can kind of go. I was talking about DJ Humphries. DJ Humphries is somebody that I love, and I think if you give him a whole offseason here, he's your guy. He's your guy. But that's why I wanted to address this, because I think he's the only guy for me getting offensive tackle. We said this, a 4-year process, he will be the guy, man. No doubt about it. He'll be the guy. So.
Yeah, I think you make a good point as far as, because I think there's a lot of people, and I've seen, we talk about the mock drafts. I see a lot of people and a lot of Chiefs content creators posting their mock drafts, kind of forcing the issue of the left tackle and drafting one at the last spot. Even though I don't think, I agree with you, I think Simmons might be the only guy that I think has the potential of being a day one starter, whereas the other ones are kind of projects, I would say. And we've kind of already done that song and dance last 2 years with King Suma. And then Wanya Morris a couple years before that, because I think people forget Wanya Morris was a top 3-round pick. So, there was, potential there, but it was a project. So, yeah, I think he's the only guy that I think is that dude, whereas the other ones are projects, and it's not going to be your, surefire right out the gate. So, yeah, I do agree with that. What do you think about Donovan Smith? Because a lot of Chiefs fans think we should sign him. I see, I don't know if Chiefs fan 211 in there is joking around here, but bring Smith back. What are your thoughts on that?
I think Smith did a good job when he was here. He was a solid tackle for us. And so he was able to hold the fort down. I like Smith. Now, does that mean, he's a year older and is he still the same guy? What is he wanting? Also, too, as far as, the signing part of it is kind of the question. I'll take it Donovan Smith. If that's what you want to, if that's your druthers, you want him, take him. But regardless if it's DJ Humphries or Donovan Smith, I still believe you need to go ahead and get you a veteran tackle to be here with the younger guys. Now, I'm going to ask Tej on this, okay? because Tage, in one of our text messages going back, we were talking about Tage was like, you don't have O-line on here nowhere on the, we had our board up, and me and Marcus, we were sitting there saying, Tage, like, we don't have O-line as like one of our priorities in the draft now. But please explain to us how what you were thinking, sir.
I've liked Simmons for quite a while. I'm totally okay with that pick. So I get why some people would say we wouldn't, even if we sign somebody. My whole thing is this, and this is why I'm okay if we drafted a guy who, like Donovan Jackson, for instance, who filled in for Simmons while Simmons was out for the year and killed it at left tackle. Basically, he was their Tooney all year, killed it at left tackle, was already a dominant guard. If I could interview Ohio State's coaching staff, I would actually ask them if Simmons came back by the end of the year, would they have stuck with Donovan Jackson left tackle? I'd love to hear their answer to that because he was killing it for him. But the reason why I would be okay with that if I saw Donovan Jackson or Booker being selected is because I'm okay getting a guy who can put him at left tackle, prove he can't do it, and his floor is borderline 10-year starter at guard. Because Trey Smith's not signed long-term. Tooney's 34, and he's got last year of his contracts next year. Who's to say he can't start a right tackle? Hey, our right tackle has an out of his contract after next year. So really, we have and Kingsley, don't get me wrong, I know we're saying all the right things about him playing guard long term, but he hasn't proven that. And if you go to all of his, I actually went to all of his draft scouting reports. Nobody mentioned guard for him. He was a tackle or a tackle. So it's interesting now that we pivoted to guard, not even right tackle. It's like we're going to make him a guard now. Okay, well, that's fine. Never saw that mentioned for him. Not to say he can't do it, but I just thought it was interesting. Like, usually you'd see that, like, if he can't do this, then he'd play tackle or a guard. I just think we have, again, so many openings on that line. If we don't get Smith done long term, and even if we do, we have a left guard open after next year. We have a right tackle open after next year. We have a left tackle open now. I don't think we need to be too picky on who we bring in at the O-line. I think if a guy, you try him at left tackle, you have a left tackle of the future, amazing. He's under contract for 5 years for dirt cheap. If you don't, then you put him at guard or right tackle after one of those guys leaves. Because I'll tell you, if we sign Trey Smith to a massive deal, Taylor and Tooney will not be here the following year. One of those guys are gone. We're not going to have $150 million tied up in the O-line playing the way it is. That's just not going to happen. So one of those guys is gone. Jackson will be a guaranteed starter after this season. Either way, whether it's at left tackle, left guard, or right tackle. So that's my thing. If you draft a guy who has versatility, you have a backup plan for him. Whereas I don't know, Simmons only played, 5 games at left tackle. So we didn't really get to see him play at his preferred position long enough to even know that he can just step in at guard and dominate that. Jackson, we know, can play left tackle, definite guard. So I like those kind of guys too. There's a lot of guys in that draft like this. Actually, a lot of the left tackles coming into all this process, everyone's saying, oh, shoot, he's going to have to play guard. He's going to have to play guard because of their arm length. But yeah. Anyway, side note on all that, right before you get to your opinion on what I said, everyone posting, Chiefs don't draft these kind of guys at tackle. Look at all the tackles they drafted with their arm lengths for the past 5 years. How many of those guys have worked out? But they keep posting it as if like it was a winning formula. Kingsley's arms are this. Wanya's arms are this. I mean, Fisher was the only guy that worked, and he was the number 1 pick overall. And he struggled at first, by the way. So only one of those guys worked out that we drafted. So I'm tired of seeing the arm length thing as if that's the end-all, be-all of who works out in Kansas City at tackle, because it's not. Anyway.
Well, okay. So kind of what you were saying about uh, what's the name? The one that play guard? What's his
Donovan Jackson.
Donovan Jackson. I think when the versatility is great in college, right? We had a Pro Bowl guard that went out to tackle, did a very good job for us last year, but then all of a sudden he got ate up.
Yeah.
And part of that was because of his arm length, possibly getting pushed back. Jackson's going to have a hard time with speed rush guys. And I've seen that on tape, that he's just not as fluid like he needs to be. Now, in a pinch, perfect guy, right? In a pinch. But we're trying to eliminate pinching, being in the pinch. We're trying to get a guy that is a guy that is a left tackle. So for me, I think you still create the problem not getting a guy that could play left tackle. Now, where I will say this, okay? There's no disrespect to guards, not at all. All right, so all the big boys out there that are looking at me that I play ball with, love you guys. But moving from outside in, I think is a lot easier because you have help on both sides. It's easier for you as long as you can anchor, get underneath the guy, and be stout. You have a much better job of doing that. That's why King Suma is able to move down. I think he'd be a very great left guard. I think he'd be a left guard. And so, like you were saying, the point is they're saying all these tackles coming into the draft is going to probably move down the guard. Well, there's a reason. Well, short on. Somebody said T-Rex tackles. I love it. That's funny. Yeah, and that's the truth. So same thing with Wanya Morris. Wanya was able to go to guard. He moved out there to right tackle, which was his original position. I think he can fill that space. Can you get a guy later on in the draft that can come in and still kind of be that guard? Sure. But I think we have to, without a doubt, have a guy that we know is a left tackle. Okay. No more projects as far as doing that. And look, get a guy that is his staple, that is his job, that is his profession. I want a big boy that's out there that's what he does and he does well. And I think Simons is a guy that, because of his athletic ability, when I watched him on film, complete, totally different than the other guys out there. And I'm telling you, like, he was a hoss. I mean, punching hard, not getting around him, was just solid. He's just a solid guy. The question is how is the injury? How's it going to respond to it? So that's what I don't want to do. I just don't want to keep, bringing in projects. And look, if you ain't got a guy, I don't want to keep moving him down. Bring a dude out here that is a left tackle. But I'm right there with you. We don't have the money to do it, but I think you have to address the draft somewhat to go get that guy. So you're not sitting over there and all your money's in, your O-line, okay, up the front, right? I'm sitting there thinking, shoot, we got Joe Tooney, $16 million, Creed, 18, Trey Smith, 23, what's the name of Juwan? Taylor's making 22. I mean, E-jokers are expensive up front. And I get it because you have the best quarterback in the game. But make sure you get a guy to anchor that on the left tackle too, that could fit in that line. Now, you don't have to break the bank this year. Are there guys that could come in the draft next year? Or like I said, go get, Josh Simmons that could come in right now and you could have him for 4 years. Okay. A true left tackle. So.
And I think it was reported. We'll get into this more on Wednesdays. The kind of the rumors and stuff that's going around. Bob Fesco of the one of the Kansas City's main radio guys. He said that apparently, and this just tells you that no one knows what the hell they're doing. What the Chiefs are doing. What Brett Veach has up his the car that he's got ready to play for this offseason. But apparently, all options are on the table, be it free agents and draft, which just tells you they have no idea where Brett Veach is thinking right now. So, and I remember last week it was saying, some people were saying, oh, they're going to go to the draft with it. But now we're saying, okay, they're still looking at Ronnie Stanley. They're still looking at potential Cam Robinson. Alaric Jackson's off the table now because they signed him to what that was about a $16 million a year deal. Was that what it was?
Yeah, he didn't get what I thought he was going to get.
Which actually not. What's that?
I think it was like 17 or 18. 17.
which is actually pretty good because that kind of sets the bar for the free agency because he was the youngest left tackle that was available this offseason. So he's getting that. I mean, Stanley can't really hit you over the head, and Cam Robinson's not going to hit you over the head. So that actually does bode well for us if we are going to go the free agent route. If we don't want to spend a lot of money there, and obviously they can play around with the years there and whatnot. But yeah, so it's really interesting to see how wide open it is for where we're going to go with the tackle spot.
I will counter one thing to your guard argument there, JD.
Yes, sir.
I know you didn't dog guards, but you made it sound kind of easy to move inside. If it were so easy, we wouldn't be paying a guy $23 million to play that right guard spot then. It's obviously a little harder. We got a lot of money invested at guard. It's for a reason. If we thought it was so interchangeable, we'd be going a little cheaper than Trey Smith right now, right?
Which I thought we were.
Yeah, I did too. To be honest with you, I thought we were as well. So, but I will say this. Okay, I think Trey's taking advantage of the market. They knew Trey was kind of that guy. And I agree with you. You know, like you said, we don't quite know what they're thinking because I haven't really seen those guys play as enough guard like Trey has. Okay, I haven't been to the practice. But what we did see, just for the little, clip that we did get of King Suma, he did a pretty good job. Like I said, as guard, you had some help. If you could be stout inside and catch a guy before he could charge out, then, hey, you there. But I didn't, to be honest with you, Tej, I really didn't think they was going to be able to sign Trey to that at all. So.
Yeah, I'm still pretty surprised that they did that. And
Yeah.
he still could be traded too. I mean, so that kind of whole thing is still up in the air as well.
Correct.
Let me ask one thing though over Donovan Jackson real fast.
Mm-hmm.
Never played left tackle before.
Mm-hmm.
Starting left tackle of a dominant O-line who won the national championship. Don't you think that's enough to have a guy let him try left tackle in the NFL though?
No.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, serious. I'm just gonna say because you're not going against somebody that's going against international finance, or somebody like a defensive end that may not be able to make it in the league and be that guy. You got to go see Myles Garrett. You got to go see Khalil Mack. You got to go see one of the Bosa brothers. You got to go see Smith.
Well, they all have to see that though. I mean, Simmons has to see those guys too, right?
Absolutely, but he's a better tackle that can handle those guys as opposed to like the guy that moves out that's going against Sister Mary of the poor. Hey man, you can get away with it in college. This is where the level comes up. That's why King Suma, when everybody was sitting there thinking, oh man, Willie Rofe and all, he's going to be the tackle of the future. Whoa, wait a minute, like hold on. Like I get King Suma was at BYU, he looked great and this and all of that. Shoot, there's guys that played at a high level that play that position was getting their butts whooped. They had to move down. They had to move them inside. Why? Because they just couldn't make it in the NFL. Like, hey man, shoot, you ain't gonna be able to make it. I love, like I give you an example. Darian Kennard. Okay, love Darian Kennard. Got him here from Kentucky. All SEC tackles, gone against the best, right? Georgia, Tennessee, Florida, you name it. LSU, he went against the best. Alabama. But all of a sudden, he didn't make it here. He moves on. He goes up into Philadelphia. That's almost like Becton, right? Becton, they moved Becton inside. So Becton, a big boy. How on that joker, what, about 6'8"? Gets hurt. But they was like, once we moved down inside, it seemed like a more natural position. And so he was better suited playing guard, at least for them. Not saying he won't move back out there to tackle, but I don't want to take a guard and then move him out to tackle that, you know what I'm saying? That's not really his strong suit, or that's not really his position. You might come in and do well against some guys in college. I get it, Hey, bravo. We said bravo to Joe Tooney. Bravo, Joe. But like DeMonte Green Bean said, well, shoot, all of a sudden, they just start whooping everybody up front. And Joe Tooney got exposed because he's not a left tackle. And we was kind of talking, and Andy Heck was like, hey, man, like, listen, Joe Tooney's a hell of a left guard. Can he do it? Yes. If you ask him to do it, sure. Can he be serviceable? Absolutely. Do a great job. When it comes down to it, start going against Myles Garrett and stuff, I seen them pushing him back, and I was just like, uh-oh, there it is. That's the formula. I seen it. I'm like, if guys don't attack him like Myles Garrett did, then that would be an issue and a problem. So that's the reason I say that.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what they do with the tackle spot. Hi, everybody. Thanks for watching. Subscribe here to get the latest from the show. Also, be sure to check out the best clips from Chief Concerns. And if you prefer to listen to the show, subscribe and follow us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and anywhere else you get your podcasts.